Hey, what's going on, Noles Nation? It's CJ Wilson here with DoakTalk. I am your host. First off, I want to let you guys know Happy New Year. We're going into the 2025 year. Hope you guys get everything that you wish for as far as your New Year's resolution, and go ahead and attack this new year with a new focus and accomplish all the goals that you set out personally for yourself. All right, now that we got that out of the way, let's go ahead and jump into it. We got some breaking news out of the transfer portal. FSU lands the commitment of Caleb LaVallee, the big-time instinctual with a lot of talent, a lot of potential linebacker from the University of North Carolina. I want to give a shout out to Coach Mike Norvell for landing this commitment. Of course, it's a transfer portal kid, but as a kid, the FSU has a prior relationship going back to the high school ranks. John Pachulis, as you guys know, he was formerly the defensive end coach and special teams coach. Now he's transitioned over to the linebacker coach, and of course, he's still going to be over special teams. And of course, the new defensive coordinator, Tony White, for go ahead and securing this commitment out of the transfer portal. I think this kid has big time potential. Caleb LaVallee stands at 6'1", 225 pounds. He was the key backup for the North Carolina Tar Heels this past season, but he got his first start in the bowl game. And boy, did he impress. Like I said, first start in the bowl game for North Carolina Tar Heels as they played the UConn Huskies. And during that game, Caleb had 9 tackles, which led the entire UNC team, and 1 tackle for loss. So he showed a lot of potential within that last bowl game, a lot of bright signs, a good signs, so to speak, for what's to come in the future for Caleb. He had 14 tackles on the year. Like I stated, he was a redshirt freshman this year. He has 3 years remaining of eligibility for to perform at FSU. He's the type of linebacker that we really haven't seen in our linebacker room in a long time. Just looking at some of his film, this kid he's fast, he's physical and violent, he's athletic, and he's instinctual. Pretty much everything you want and describes a playmaker type of linebacker. Like I said, he didn't play that much at UNC, but the bright side of this is, like I said, he has 3 years remaining of eligibility, and his potential is huge. First start for UNC, 9 tackles in the TFL when he had to enter the transfer portal. I'm very familiar with Caleb LaVallee as he was a kid that FSU recruited in high school from Mableton, Georgia. Big-time athlete. You guys know Randy Shannon. His high school linebacker recruiting wasn't the greatest, and there was a lot to be desired, but this was a very good offer for FSU during that time. And like I said, he was a kid I really took a liking to, wanted FSU to pursue and try to land his commitment. Ended up committing to the University of North Carolina out of high school. We didn't, of course, finish the deal and get the kid to commit. But just going back to his high school days, he reminds me of some of those Clemson linebackers we saw when Brent Venables was running the defenses, and they were pretty much competing for national championships year after year and competing in the playoffs year after year. Those type of Clemson linebackers from a leadership standpoint, athletic standpoint, just a football savvy and a football smart standpoint, right? Being in the right position at the right time, making the right reads, triggering when you should, triggering the run game, reading the guards, that type of deal, being downhill, fast flow, making a lot of plays, and also being the key leader on defense, right? Something that the Clemson linebackers, that Clemson defense prided itself in. I think Caleb kind of fits that mold. So just going back to his high school days, in which I was so impressed with him, just to give you guys some of these numbers that he rallied during his 3-year career, his 3-year varsity career in Mableton. During his 3-year career, had 425 tackles, 18 sacks, 57 tackles for loss, and 4 interceptions. Pretty impressive numbers, right? During his senior season, he had 172 tackles, 24 tackles for loss, 3 interceptions, in which 1 he returned for a touchdown. He led the entire state of Georgia with tackles per game. He averaged 15.6 tackles per game during his senior year of ball. So like I stated, he's a guy that he fits the mold that you want for a linebacker. Athletic, fast, instinctual, can play in today's game. A leader, he's downhill, fast flow, and he's violent. He gets a lot of knockbacks, right? When I say a lot of knockbacks, it's not too many kids or too many cats. Just looking at his high school film, I know college is a lot different because the athletes are bigger and stronger, but just looking at his high school film, because we only have limited college film to judge by, when I say he gets a lot of knockbacks, there's not many running backs that's falling forward and getting extra yard per carry after they get hit after initial contact by Caleb. He usually stopping cats dead in his tracks right then and there. There's not too many extra yardage involved when Caleb actually gets to the play and makes contact. So I understand where FSU fans is coming from. They're like, well, okay, yeah, this kid may have a lot of potential, but he doesn't have a lot of experience. And we need people that can play right now for FSU, right? I get it. Trust me, I get it 100%. I do think Caleb can play right now for FSU. It will factor within the lineup possibly for FSU. At the same time, FSU is also recruiting other linebackers within the transfer portal as well that gives you that mix of a lot of experience. Marquise Watson-Trent, he's transfer linebacker from Georgia Southern at FSU is recruiting. Had over 365 career tackles during his career at Georgia Southern, 27 tackles for loss and 6 sacks. He's had 100 tackles in each of the past 3 seasons for the Georgia Southern Eagles. And of course, Elijah Herring, the transfer linebacker from Memphis, FSU has recruited him as well. Played good ball at Memphis this past season, had 60 tackles. The year before, he had 80 tackles for the University of Tennessee. But in his career total, he had 150. He has 151 tackles and 15 tackles for a loss. So again, you factor that in as far as the experience within the transfer portal. If we could get those guys to be perfect for FSU in regards to the combination to combat the lack of experience, so to speak, within that room, within getting Caleb LaVallee as well. And of course, you have Omar Graham that's coming back within that transfer portal, or not transfer portal, sorry, coming back within the FSU linebacker room. And this is like a tale of two cities for as far as the season for Omar Graham. And it played out exactly how you would want a season to play out as far as a kid facing adversity and how you respond to it. Going back to the Georgia Tech game, Omar Graham probably had the worst game I've seen at linebacker from an FSU standpoint that I could probably remember. He was just purely bad at the Georgia Tech game, but he took that on the chin and got better and better and better throughout the season. And towards the end of the season, not towards the end of the season, pretty much at the end of the season, he was FSU's, dare I say, best defensive player. Omar Graham making plays left and right, probably next to Azaria Thomas, who was locked down in coverage and rarely got targeted. But Omar Graham had a hell of a year down the stretch for FSU, and it's going to be interesting to see what he can do and take to 2025 season in the new scheme, new coaching that has a violent and aggressive type of attacking style on defense. So you have Omar Graham back, and of course Blake Nicholson. He's going to be back as well. A lot of people on Twitter have been making jokes about Blake Nicholson and Caleb LaVallee as far as two linebackers playing together and things like that, as far as pass films and white linebackers and just that whole mantra as far as having a white linebacker that can make plays all over the field. So it's been a lot of funny jokes on Twitter as far as Caleb LaVallee and Blake Nicholson playing together. But just speaking of Blake in general, like I said, he's a kid that has ultra athleticism too. He's still new to playing linebacker. His first 2 seasons were, well, he didn't play as freshman that much. His sophomore season was a lot of learning curves for Blake Nicholson as he's still learning to play the position of linebacker. If you guys remember, Blake Nicholson was a running back mostly in high school. So it's going to be interesting to see how he transitions as well as his 3rd year being a full-time linebacker. But Caleb LaVallee himself, I'm really excited about what he brings to the table. Much needed to the linebacker room. We could close on a few more of these guys. Then you have a linebacker room that's going to be flipped to a 180 as well. So it's going to be really interesting to see how we look going to spring practice with all these new additions. Make sure you guys like this video and subscribe to the channel. I'm really excited about this kid. He had a lot of upside coming out of high school, and he showed that upside in UNC's bowl game against the UConn Huskies. Like I stated, he led the entire team in tackles. So make sure you guys like this video, subscribe to the channel. Go ahead and join the DoakTalk community. Go Noles. We'll have more transfer portal news coming soon.